Now at 6, the Missouri Highway Patrol investigates the cause of a fatal crash on I-44 involving multiple casualties. Plus, candidates interviewing for the presidency of Fort Scott Community College come out to meet the public. And a bipartisan bill proposes doubling the federal minimum wage. We'll hear from a Missouri senator who's in favor.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Missouri Highway Patrol is investigating a fatal crash on I-44 that killed multiple people and left a community in mourning. This is KOIM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. That crash happened yesterday afternoon in Crawford County, Missouri. Authorities say a motorhome traveled through the median and struck another vehicle. The collision caused both vehicles to catch fire. All 4 people, 2 in each vehicle, died in that crash. In a statement following the crash, the Crawford County, Missouri Sheriff's Office said, quote, "Our hearts go out to the families forever changed by this heartbreaking event. No inconvenience or delay can compare to the loss and grief they are now facing," end quote. Authorities say all 4 people were in their 60s. Let's check in with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney for a first look at the weather.
Well, we unfortunately have another round of strong to severe storms on Tuesday. You can see our SPC outlook mainly for southeastern Kansas is under a level 3 out of 5 risk for severe weather that lingers until early Wednesday morning. Currently, it's looking pretty good out there. Clouds are going to continue to clear overnight tonight. Temperatures are dropping down from the mid 80s. Now going to get down into the upper 60s for our overnight low. But again, all those clouds are going to continue to break apart for the rest of tonight into early Tuesday before more clouds start to move in. Now we're starting Tuesday off hot and muggy, so it is going to be very humid out there in the morning, which just adds to our instability, especially with those high temperatures. And then strong storms start to move in later on the evening. Now you can see we've got a possible chance for some isolated showers, isolated storms earlier, but our severe threat comes in later in the night. You can see into early Wednesday morning. I'll have all those details coming up.
See you soon. A major milestone for one of Pittsburgh's long-standing manufacturers, Pitt Plastics, celebrates its largest expansion in 3 decades. A ribbon-cutting ceremony today marked the expansion. It adds more than 200,000 square feet to the company's total footprint in Pittsburgh. They say the expansion will allow them to grow their customer base and support future revenue, both for the company and the community. The event gave local officials and the chamber a chance to tour the space, which was completed earlier this year and is now fully operational.
This is actually the very first building expansion that I've been involved in my 30 years in the industry, so it was very nice to see. We had very good building partners with us on this, and very excited to see it completed.
Again, it gave the chamber officials and others a chance to tour that space, now fully operational. Raising the minimum wage has long enjoyed widespread popularity among Democrats, but now one Republican senator from Missouri is crossing party lines and proposing to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Jen Sullivan has details.
A proposal to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour is gaining traction.
The minimum wage hasn't increased in 15 years.
Republican Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri has teamed up with Democratic Senator Peter Welch of Vermont to introduce the legislation.
I just think it's basic justice. It's time to give American workers a raise.
Right now, the federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour and hasn't been raised since 2009. This proposal would be more than double that rate. Several states, though, have voted to raise their minimum wages. The highest minimum wage is in the District of Columbia at $17.50 an hour, followed by Washington State, $16.66 an hour, and California's minimum wage, $16.50 an hour. But many states just use the federal minimum wage as their own. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, that $7.25 in June of 2009 would be equivalent to $10.81 in 2005 when you factor in inflation. And while inflation has cooled recently, according to a recent federal report, one financial expert responding to the latest consumer price index number said Americans still feel like the cost of living is high.
Most people are most likely not looking at a purely economic sentiment reading. They're taking the assessment of their whole picture.
Here's the concern of raising the federal minimum wage. A few years ago, when the Congressional Budget Office looked at what a similar hourly increase would do to the economy, they found some low-wage workers could become jobless as business owners hired fewer workers due to rising labor costs.
2 of the 4 candidates for Fort Scott Community College president met the public today in a community forum. The other 2 candidates participated in a forum last week. They were given a platform to discuss their view of the future and what they would bring to the college.
The community is literally in our name. We need to make sure that this process, the process of choosing a very important position to the college, is open to the community, as they will be affected by who we choose.
Fort Scott Community College, which was founded in 1919, is the oldest community college in Kansas. To date, the school has had only 7 presidents. Missouri Southern looks to score a touchdown with the launch of its new women's flag football program. John Dales has details coming up later in sports, but up first. Between the rock of inflation and the hard place of weather, one local farmer says his business and consumers have felt the impact.
Our thing.
Between weather and inflation, foot traffic is looking a bit different at local farmers markets. One of those is K&D Cattle in Newton County. The operator says costs from growing necessities to purchasing out-of-season products have gone up. KOAM's Lonnie Walton reports on the impact.
My favorite fruit is apples.
I like grapefruit.
Favorite summertime fruit is peaches. Love nice sweet peaches.
Watermelon, because it's refreshing.
We all have our favorites, and some argue they're even better from a farmer's market.
Yes, I love a farmer's market.
Local business, local farms, local support people,
That's what Than Thornburg from K&D Cattle Co. in Newton wants to hear when folks buy from local market. But this year, foot traffic looks a little different.
Yeah, overall we're down, and I'm not the only one. I've got other friends that are in the business as well, from Bentonville, Arkansas area, clear, north of Lamar and everything. Overall, that's the general census, is that sales are down right now.
Farmer says the cost of growing his own produce went up, and the fruit that many want right now is really not in season, meaning it has been shipped from somewhere else. And inflation has impacted those costs too.
Local stuff isn't on, as far as watermelon and cantaloupe, until July. So right now we're bringing it in. I got cantaloupe and watermelon out of Georgia, sometimes out of Texas and Florida.
Thornburg says unfortunately with those higher costs for him, he had to raise prices, but he still hopes people will support him and others.
If I'm bringing it in from another farm, you're still supporting that farm through our business.
And whether it's food or even flowers.
I love it. They are the best people, and they have these wonderful petunias, and they're on sale, and they've got great tomatoes in there also that I picked up.
Thornburg hopes to see folks continue helping markets thrive. Reporting in Newton County, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM.
KOAM contacted some other Joplin area markets. We were told although not all sales are suffering, the weather is putting on added burdens on their product. A little bit later, young people in Joplin got to learn the ins and outs of the healthcare industry thanks to an educational summer camp.
And we have another round of potentially strong to severe storms. I'll have those details right after this. Well, if you got outside this morning, it was pretty humid. But as we made our way through the day, all the clouds started to break and we ended up having a pretty nice afternoon. You can see, taking a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, we've got these clear skies. A few clouds are still remaining, but those are all going to start to break apart as we get further into the evening and overnight hours. And you can see, really looking good tonight and through tomorrow morning. Now we are tracking a low pressure system. We've got our high out to the southwest, but our low pressure system out to the northwest. That's going to be bringing in a lot of storms. You can see it all the way up in the northern states. Severe thunderstorm warnings and even tornado warnings up there in Minnesota. So as we continue to make our way through tomorrow, we are going to see severe threat ramping back up, especially after midnight on Tuesday. Now we're under an elevated risk for southeastern Kansas states, clipping just out to I-49, a couple of our counties out in Missouri as well. And then the rest of us are under a level 2 out of 5 risk. Now, our main threat is going to be again after midnight to about 4 or 5 a.m., but we do have some potentially strong storms from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The main threat is going to be strong wind gusts, but we can't rule out other modes of severe weather, because when we get winds that what we could see tomorrow, that Boeing echo, we've talked about it before, we've got this hatch zone, significant wind threat, we get these conditional pop-up or spin-up tornadoes that we could see along that main line. And then of course, hail is always a possibility as well. So as we make our way through the rest of the evening, clear skies continue until Tuesday morning. Clouds start to move in by about 8 to 9 a.m. And again, super humid. It's going to be muggy and just gross outside in the morning hours. But here's our first little round of storms. At first, it moves in a little bit stronger right when it makes it into Yates Center area all the way down to Chanute. But the further it brings in, the less likely we're going to see any strong storms with that. Really breaks apart by about 1 to 1:30. We've got cloudy skies for the rest of the day and going to see some little pop-up showers, thunderstorms ahead of what we're going to expect for severe weather once we get into late Tuesday night. Now again, this is all happening after midnight. That's our big threat for severe weather. And then you can see where it starts to move in, that main line of storms. Now you can see where the bow echo is, and that's where we get these strong wind gusts moving in from the north-northwest. Could be 60, 70 mile per hour winds, and along that we get to see those spin-up tornado chances. Now again, the spin-up tornado chances mainly for southeastern Kansas right when this moves in. See, it's very strong, but the further it makes it into the area, the more it breaks apart, especially once it goes along I-44. Geography just kind of breaks up that wind threat a little bit. And then as we head into about 4:30, 5 a.m., we're left with mostly heavy rain, which could lead to potential for flooding. Now, those rain showers linger until mid-morning on Wednesday, and then after that, we're back into this heat risk. So we go from severe weather to hot heat risk potential. On Friday, we're under a moderate risk for heat. We're going to see heat indices in the hundreds with actual heat temperature only about 90 degrees. But Saturday, even hotter. Again, heat indices in the low 100s up to 103. So we flip around from severe weather to just hot weather. We do have an alert day on Tuesday because of those storms Tuesday night and into early Wednesday morning. And then again, right after all that clears out, we're back to the hot temperatures, 90s with heat indices in the low 100s. So it's not going to be a fun week really for anybody.
The rain's going to be falling and then it's going to be steaming up off the ground.
Yes, it's going to be muggy this weekend.
I'm sure. Thanks, Lindsay. Rain or shine, you can stay on top of the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone. It's absolutely free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Still ahead, a new sport is coming to the campus of Missouri Southern, and the Arkansas Razorbacks fight to stay alive in the College World Series. John Dales has those stories and more up next in sports.
Stars and Stripes sale is going on now.
Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 tonight. The future of public transportation is on the table during an open house in Joplin. We're going to have details. Plus, Southeast Kansas lawmakers held a meet and greet in Humboldt, Kansas. And Joplin City Council looks to move forward on an ordinance allowing some urban deer hunting. Those stories, a lot more, it's all coming up tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Some incoming 7th and 8th grade students in Joplin are getting an inside look at healthcare careers at the Freeman Healthcare Careers Camp. It includes ambulance and air ambulance tours, introduction to CPR, OR tours, and more.
Making new friends and learning how to use those resources, and yeah.
The camp continues at Freeman Properties and at North Middle School through Friday. Wish we could say we don't have any more chances of rain for a while, but in fact we do have a chance.
And we have an alert day actually for Tuesday, mainly for the storms that are coming in after midnight Tuesday and into Wednesday. We've got a couple rounds of severe storms on Tuesday though, with all modes of severe weather possible.
And then it's going to get hot.
Very hot.
And muggy. Final sports notes.
I'll have more tonight on Game 5 of the NBA Finals. In series like this where it's tied at 2, the winner of Game 5 goes on to win the series more than 80% of the time.
Wow, a lot of pressure on both teams.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. We're going to see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. Let's make it a great evening.